Good evening. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Lee. Haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're well. Jeremy, Mark, how you doing? Right, sorry, my phone is beeping a little bit because I've just turned on my Samsung, which is what I'm using for the live stream. Good evening, Daniel, Yusuf, how you doing? Yakim, how you doing? Or Mikey? Well, as long as you're keeping busy, Daniel, that's the main thing. So indeed, I have a box opening. This is actually a combination of things. This is from GQ Tobaccos. Using my Spyderco for a change. I remembered, exactly. It's been a while, hasn't it? So, a combination of things. There's a couple of pipes in here. There's some cigars in here. I can't remember what else. The cigars came about because a guy that I've known for many years went into photography way after me, but he's pretty successful at what he does. He does a particular type of photography. And he was getting into sort of social photography, like family photography, you know, like wedding parties, engagements, bar mitzvahs, that kind of thing. And he was struggling with composition. And I spent about an hour with him, giving him some advice and training on it, on how to do composition. And at the time, he wanted to pay me, and I said, no, it's fine. It's good to pass on information. You know, my photography career has spanned, I don't know, maybe 20 years, and it's now kind of sort of slowly waning as I get older, and putting more time into the pipes. So I'm happy to pass on the information. And anyway, so he was grateful. So he said, let me get you something. What would you like? I said, really, there's absolutely no necessity. And then I had an idea, and I said, you know what? You don't have to give me any money, but if you want, he was offering me a bottle of whiskey or a bottle of wine or something. I said, you know, a couple of cigars, that'll go down perfect. So he said, perfect, no problem. He said, where should I go? So I said, hop onto GQ Tobaccos and see what you can find. And I told him roughly I prefer Robusta size and upwards, and didn't want to be too fussy because he was giving it to me, a kind of thing. At the end of the day, I didn't want to take a reward for it. Anyway, he got me some Partigas E2, which is like a 6-inch by 52, something like that, a really nice size cigar. And anyway, it was very nice. He phoned me up. This was a few months ago, Thursday night or Wednesday night. He calls me up and he says, I just want to tell you that I've been using the skills that you sent me on composition, and it's really saved my life many times, and just I feel I owe you. I want to send you again some cigars. And he did. He sent me another 2. He said he sent me exactly the same cigars as before, which is really nice. It's really nice when you get some appreciation which you weren't expecting. So I took at the same time the opportunity, and I ordered the Davidoff Millennium Lancero, which I've heard a lot about, and I'll be doing a video on that shortly. So this is the Partagas E2s. Really nice. Look at there's this one on the right is nice and dark and oily. This one still needs a bit more time, but a really nice cigar. I've always enjoyed the E2. I've smoked one of the ones that he gave me, and I've still got the other one in my small humidor up there, the little tapador. I may well smoke that tonight, maybe Daniel. Hey Patrick, hey Jack. So he sent me those two as a gift, which was very nice. And I also picked up the Davidoff Millennium Lancero. I'm not a huge Davidoff cigar fan. There are some which I absolutely love, but in terms of being a dedicated devotee to the brand, in terms of like loving everything they do, definitely not. I've got particular tastes. So I like the Nicaragua range. In fact, that whole kind of range that they brought out at the time with the Yamasa and the Escurio, I'm quite a fan of that whole range. And I'm a very big fan of the Late Hour. For me, the Late Hour is one of the New World cigars that comes the closest to being a good quality Cuban cigar. So yeah, they do tend to be on the mild side, unless they're a specific, like the Yamasa or Escurio, where they're more punchy. But on the general lines, they do tend to be milder and creamier. But I'm looking forward to this one. I think this is more of going to be probably a morning coffee kind of smoke. But I will do a video on this one because, as I say, I've heard some good things about it. So those are the cigars. I do have a big Tapador container with all the New World cigars, but I'm going to keep it in this little one. In this little one here, I've got just usually keep a couple of Cubans, just the ones that I'm going to smoke, in the near future. So this one I actually took out on Thursday night. I was thinking of smoking it. This is a San Cristobal La Casa del Habano. That's the extra band here. This is the a little small Pyramides. I got two of these in Rome. I haven't smoked either of them yet. I might have actually bought one there and smoked it there. That I might have done, but I haven't done a video on these either. So that's the San Cristobal. I was going to smoke this on Friday, but in the end I didn't. I just finished off a quorum that I had started a couple of days ago. So this is the D6, and that's the other E2 which he sent me at the time. And that one's pretty ready to go. I've even taken the cap off already. So we're going to put those in there. And I'll see if we can squeeze that in as well. Squeeze it in without squeezing it in. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, so now we come to the pipes. I've heard good things about the Banker Edge Upmans, the New World ones. Okay, so I have shown you before my recent acquisition, which was a Barling. So this one I bought recently. It comes in a really nice box. And this is it's a silver, sort of a hammered silver band with a lion on there. Smooth rim, and just a very nice sandblast there. I don't know if that's coming up or not. So that's the one which I bought a while back. I haven't smoked it as yet. And Barlings have got an amazing reputation. They're not obviously made by Barling anymore. I think they're made by Cop, I don't know if it's Kohlhausen Cop or just Cop. So that was the first barling that I bought of the current generation, and so I bought another one which I really like the look of. These are coming from GQ Tobaccos. So this, I wanted to get in a sandblasted version, but the sandblasted versions, when I originally bought this one, this is a billiard, I really wanted to get a Lovat, but this was the nicest of the lot in terms of the sandblast, so I just ended up going with a billiard. But I then saw the other day a beautiful Lovat, and I asked him to send me more photos of it, and the grain on it is just fantastic. It's not a contrast stain like I might do, but you can see the grain. So I'm almost tempted to restain this. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you've got some really beautiful bird's eye on the side, and the cross grain is very, very evident. And then you've got, again, nice bird's eye on this side. So like I say, it's also got the silver lion head on there, and it's just a very, very clean pipe. There's no fills, there's no pits or anything like that, so I decided to go for it. And of course they are 9mm. We shall have to see about the drill. Why isn't that working? The battery must have gone. I might re-drill it, we shall see. I'll have to smoke it with a filter in and see how it goes. The actual finish on the pipe is not a high gloss, it's more of a matte finish. It actually feels very good though, it's very smooth, the shaping is excellent. I mean, these are machine made, so you would expect the shaping to be spot on. On it says Marylebone, the very finest, and then you've got the barling in script. But and then it's got underneath 1914, which I presume 1814, which I presume is the shape. But it's a really, really good looking pipe. I like that a lot. It's classic, very, very classic. Classic looking pipe, and I'm very happy with that. And I like to have kind of resurrected the traditional bags that they used to have, the soft material bag with a gold edging on it. I've had barlings with those original bags before, so I like that. I've actually got a brand new unsmoked Porsche pipe which will be going up in the consignment sale very soon. Daniel, as it happens. They're an interesting design, an interesting concept. So this pipe I haven't actually paid for yet, but Sam was good enough to send it to me to have a look at, to make my decision. I've actually had it in my basket for quite some time, and I kept on getting email reminders, don't forget to finish and clear out and check out your basket. But I couldn't quite bring myself to pull the trigger on it. I haven't been buying, pipes a great deal recently. Obviously making my own pipes most of the time, so it's kind of takes a lot to tempt me to buy a pipe, and that's the reason why I went for that barling, because it was just such a clean pipe and such beautiful grain. once that's smoked a bit, you know, the colors on it will get richer and deeper and darker. So anyway, so I've seen this Northern Briars on GQ's website for a while. Every so often he uploads a batch of Ian's pipes, and there's usually a few in there which are 9mm. So this is another classic, English classic shape. Oh, it's bigger than I expected. So we have the classic bulldog shape. So this is a Northern Briars Regal Rocks Cut, handmade in England, 23, and it's a Group 4. Nice, Sam. So, I mean, I haven't decided if I'm going to keep it. But it really is just a great shape. Just the perfect classic British bulldog, very apt for the current situation here in the UK with the coronation taking place today. We've just been watching it back with all my kids. And I'll say as well that the rocks cut is a really nice finish. It's not a sandblast, it's a rustication, but it's a very fine, but sort of, it's like a sea rock which is smoothed down. It may well have had a quick pass on the sandblaster as well. I don't know how he does it, but it's very nice finish, and he's just knocked it out of the park in terms of the shaping on this one. So we shall see. I don't know if I'm going to keep it yet or not. I shall have to fondle it for a while, maybe a day. I can't send it back now anyway because it's a bank holiday weekend to celebrate the King's coronation. So the first day I could send it back is Tuesday, so I get a couple of days to get intimate with it, so to speak. There we go. I was toying with the idea of quickly knocking up a Crown Series pipe for myself to smoke tonight on the coronation day, but I decided to spend time sitting with my family to watch it, because obviously we didn't watch it today over on the Sabbath, so we were watching it back, and so that's how I spent my time rather than make another pipe. And it comes with a leather sock as well. It goes in these very nice Northern Briars pipe boxes. There we go. So let's put it back in the box actually. By the way, just so that you guys know, although GQ Tobaccos doesn't send tobacco overseas, they do send pipes and accessories. And what I would tell you is that this range of Barlings you know, the Barlings have got a very sort of, they're steeped in history, you know, the pre-transition, the transition, and you know, all of that stuff. I think this is going to be another generation of Barlings which people will look back on and say were good pipes. You know, they're not handmade. The stems are not handmade. You know, they're preformed stems. Doesn't matter. They've got quite a few different ranges, and I guess there's different qualities in the different ranges. But I'm very impressed with them. I mean, I've seen them over on smokingpipes.com as well. They've got maybe different ranges, because I've only seen a couple of ranges here in the UK, but I've seen different ranges over on smokingpipes.com. So I don't know, but Sam will send them overseas for you. Thank you, Snoopy. Nice one, Sam. And how does it smoke? Was it a GQ Tobaccos, one of their own sort of branded ones, or was it a different brand, Sam? I didn't see Mike's Radice Bulldog, Daniel, no. Do I smoke my Castello much? I smoke it pretty regularly, yeah. So much so that it's on my main rack, so that's the pipes that I smoke regularly. I do have one or two of the GQ branded ones, although I've never smoked one. But I do have a ball-shaped one, which is very nice. Yeah, $35 is about right. They're very cheap, great value for money. If you're looking to put together a 7-day set or something like that of those pipes, you know, you could do that. A couple of $100, you can put yourself together a great range of shapes as well. You can get them in 9mm, and you know, it's a great way to go. It's the equivalent of a basket pipe. In my opinion, they're better. They're better than the average basket pipe. They're not the highest quality finish, you know, but they'll smoke fine, and there's a good range of shapes in there as well. Is there a pipe that I don't smoke because of the value or sentimental that you thought about adding into your rotation? Not really, no. The only pipe really that for me has the most sentimental value, well, it's not sentimental value, but it means something to me, is because it was one of the pipes that I bought very, very early on, is that Soren Refberg, the little Levat. And I converted that to 6mm myself, because it's such a thin shaggy, it wouldn't do 9mm. I converted to 6mm, but I've yet to find the right tobacco for it, and I don't recall what I originally smoked in it. You have a 10-day rotation of Bulldogs. Okay, so that's one of your favorite shapes, I guess. So no, my problem is that I've got kind of a queue of unsmoked pipes which need to get broken in, and as you know, breaking in pipes is not my favorite pastime. That's my problem, really. It's a great problem to have. I've got now I've got those two Barlings, the Northern Brides, possibly. I have a new pipe which I did in a trade with an Eastern Bloc country, I forget, Marek something. So I've got his pipe to break in at some point. I've still not smoked Josh's pipe that he sent me. I've got a bunch of others. I've got the Israeli Pipe Club of Israel pipe that I haven't smoked. What else I can think of offhand? I don't know. There's a good number of pipes. I've got the panelled pipe, the JJ Fox panelled pipe. I really like the look of that pipe. A little bit large, but I like it. I converted that to 9mm, and I haven't smoked it yet. I've actually got this pipe. I've got a bunch of Stanwell pipes which I bought, which I haven't yet cleaned up, a couple of which I'm going to probably keep myself. I haven't come across a Kieser pipe, no. So I bought this one. This is a new old stock This is a Nording pipe, a beautiful sort of a Cigar style rustication with a bit of a smooth section. There's a sterling silver band on it. A full bent, like a Hungarian type or umpol, not quite umpol, but certainly a full bent pipe. It's not 9mm, but it could be converted. Hey Sid, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while, hope you're well. So this one I have to decide whether I'll resell it or I'll convert it, possibly. Yeah, 6mm, for me, they're really just, if you're desperate to keep a pipe and it's not wide enough to do 9mm, that's the only reason why I would do 6mm. And that's the reason why I converted the Soren Refberg pipe. But otherwise, I would not recommend 6mm. Sorry, 6mm. So that's, it is a nice pipe. It's beautifully made. It's got a lovely rustication on it. And it's got a nice little sort of smooth spot. So I may well put this up for sale at some point, or I may have a bash at converting it. If I keep it, I'll probably bend that just a little bit more, because generally speaking, you want the button to be in the same plane, the same horizontal plane as the top of the bowl, and this one is pointing up just a little bit. So if I was to make that just a little bit, almost a right angle, then that will be a fantastic chin hugger. So that's something that I would probably do if I keep it for myself. But I do have something quite exciting coming. It's one of the, it's not the most I've ever spent on a pipe, but close to it. When I was in Rome, I was in the Novelli pipe shop, and I was looking at some Parker pipes, some freehand Parker pipes. They had some really nice large freehand Parker pipes with amazing ring grain, sandblast ring grain. The only time beforehand that I'd seen Parker pipes like that were in many years ago in the Davidoff shop, in one of my first shop tour videos going back about 6 years ago, of the Davidoff shop, and I showed they had a very nice big Dublin, same kind of idea, with an amazing sandblast. And I really wanted to get one of them. None of them are 9mm, but I really wanted to get them, but I just couldn't afford it at the time when I was in Rome. And I've been sort of watching their website all the time, and I had a whole to and fro with them about it, because first of all I wanted to know if it was wide enough to convert to 9mm, and I asked them to measure the shank of the one that I wanted. There was a whole, they've got like half a dozen really nice ones, but there was one in particular that I wanted, and he measured it and he said it's 12mm. So if it's 12mm, I said fine, forget it, I can't convert 12mm, it's just too thin. And then he came back and emailed and said, sorry, I made a mistake, it's 18mm. 18mm is much more safe to try and convert. You're less likely to crack the shank. It can happen, but it's less likely. So I kind of hummed them hard and I put it in my basket, and I've just left it there. I was watching it, and then the next time I looked, I see it and it says sold. So I thought, you know what, it's sold. I don't have to worry about it. It doesn't have to sort of keep pecking at me, buy me, buy me, buy me. No problem. So in the meantime, I was emailing backwards and forwards, you know, different bits of information. And so I said, oh, well, it looks like it's sold now, so there we go. So Marco at Novelli emailed me back and he said, no, you don't get off that easy. He didn't say that, but that's how it felt like to me. Their system on their website is that when you put it in your basket, immediately it shows as sold on the website. Now, there's advantages and disadvantages to that. If you're running a website and somebody puts something in their basket and basically holds on to it, that means nobody else can buy it at that time, which is good for the buyer because he can still hum and haw and decide whether he wants to pull the trigger or not, but also not lose out because he's got hold of it. But at the same time, if somebody holds onto a pipe and then puts it back and takes it out of their basket, it's been off the market for however long you've had it in your basket, which means somebody who may have wanted that pipe has gone away and bought something else because it wasn't available. So it's an interesting one, and I think that probably 99% of websites don't. If I put a pipe in the basket on GQ, somebody else can buy it until I've actually paid for it. Somebody else can buy it, and it's the same on. I've had that actually on the Danish pipe shop. On the Danish pipe shop, I've had stuff in my basket, and by the time I come to pay for it, it had already sold. So, but this time, in the end, I pulled the trigger, and it's on its way to me. So, and I actually had a call from DHL saying that there's an import duty to pay on it, and I've never ever had a phone call, and they said it's a courtesy call, and it sounded like a scam to me. And I've since then had texts and emails telling me that I've got to pay £44 duty. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go onto the DHL website, put in the tracking number, and see what happens. If I have to pay it, I have to pay it. It's a risk I took. It's a problem when you're buying from overseas. It's you know, that's why I don't, since Brexit, I think this is the first pipe that I'm buying from overseas. But you know, sometimes you get one of those things where you get a pipe where you just feel that you need to have it, and that was one of those pipes. Why do you need 18 mil to convert when you only need to convert to 9 mil? Well, if you imagine that you've got 12 mil, a 12 mil shank, and you need to convert to 9 mil, when you drill it, you're actually drilling it for 10 mil or even over more than 10 mil. And then if you imagine that, so that leaves you with, let's say, 2 mil left if it's a 12 mil shank. You cut that in half because you've got the thickness on either side of the shank, and actually what that means is you've got 1 millimeter thickness shank all the way around, and that's just going to break. There's no way you can do that. So I used to consider 16 mil to be the very, very limit of what I was prepared to drill. But when I'm making a pipe, as long as I'm putting a band on it to strengthen it, I will drill a 14 mil. Not 12, but I will drill a 14 mil. In fact, any pipe of mine which has got a band on it, and not a silver band, the silver band is not drilled that thin, but any other pipe which has got a band on it, whether it's an ebonite band or an acrylic band or whatever it might be, generally speaking, now they will be drilled to 14 mil, and the band, that's why it's really crucial that the band fits well, so that it doesn't wiggle too much, otherwise that could still split. You can't cut to 9 because 9 mil is the filter. The way I do it, the filter needs a bit of room, and you can't, if you cut it to 9, then the 9 mil filter wouldn't fit in it. Well, it actually would, strictly speaking, but you always have to have more room. You can't be as precise as that. Oh, Mark, that very generous of you and very thoughtful. That would have been far too much, Mark. Seriously, that would have been ridiculous. Your gifts, as it was, were ridiculously generous. If you have a filter, Daniel, that wobbles a little bit, what you can do, and what I used to do, is if you take a piece of paper and just a small piece of paper like that, and you just wrap it around the filter. Make sure it's a clean piece of paper without ink on it or anything like that. You wrap it around the filter and just put it in, and it will not wobble anymore if the wobbling bothers you, and that's a very simple cure to the problem. Partigas Series D number 5, very nice as well. One of my go-tos, short and nice smoke. Yeah, I do like the short smokes. I will I like the Partagas, the small ones. I find nowadays that I don't get to have enough time to smoke a really long cigar. And although I'm tempted to have the E2, I think it's going to be too long for me. Squish the filter a bit till it bends in the middle, so that will make it a little bit wider in the middle. You could do that. I personally wouldn't do that, but you can do that if you want. But that's going to alter. It's going to alter the draw if you do that, in my opinion. But that's just me. So, the D6 or the San Cristobal. The San Cristobal I do want to do a video on as well, but I do have another one, so I could still do a video. I've got about 20 cigars in my humidor waiting on videos. I just don't seem to have the time to do them, because doing cigar videos just takes a lot of time. I've got cigars which Mark sent me, not the last time, but the time before, which still need videos. And then the last one, he sent me so many, I don't know when I'm going to do all those. The Camachos and that whole box that he sent me, just I don't know when I'm going to do it. I want to do this one as well. Actually, I've got to have a look in my humidor that my son gave me. See what's in there. Maybe I'll smoke something in there. I can't remember what I have in this one. My son gave me this a few weeks ago. I've showed you this before. I just don't recall what's in here. So I've got a squished Ramon Iones limited edition 2019. So this one got a little bit squished, but it'll smoke just fine. The Partagas is not necessarily a smaller cigar. They just do a whole range of different sizes, but this particular one is smaller, but the E2, as I was showing you before, is larger. That's a Monte Cristo number 4, but it feels very tight. Maybe that's because this is knackered. I have to put a new Boveda in there. But this one feels okay because it's been inside the bag. And this, I think, is a Churchill, yeah. This is a Romeo and Juliet Churchill. This is a lovely looking cigar. Just beautiful Vitola. Very, very nice. Incidentally, I mean, I could put all that stuff in here, really. But one of the ways to test if your cigar humidor is at the right. I don't think I've got any. I need a £5 note. I'll use a 20. It's a £20 note. Still got the queen on it. So apparently, I don't know this, but I have seen it. I don't know this scientifically, but apparently, with a cigar humidor, you do want some air exchange. You don't want it to be airtight. If it's airtight, it's also no good. You want it to have a tiny amount of air exchange with the outside environment with the inside, and enough humidity inside to keep topping up the humidity as it reduces because of the air exchange. And the way to test it is to put a pound note. You see, you have this lip which goes inside. You don't want that to be too tight against the side walls, then it becomes airtight. So you put a note in, and if you can't pull it through, then it's too tight. If it comes through, but you got to pull it, it's exactly right, and that's exactly what this one is. So that's good. That's a little thing I saw. I don't remember where I saw it first. This is a wallet I bought when I was in Rome. It just caught my eye, the different colours. My wife says it's too feminine for me, and I said, no, it's not. It's not! But I love it because it's got loads of places for different cards, although I don't use credit cards that much. There's just a couple of bank cards. And it all gets protected by that because it goes over all of the slots. You've got the slots on the outside as well. And just a little tip. When you put your cards in, I put them in upside down. If you've got several bank cards, I put them in upside down because then you can see the different accounts and you know which card you're dragging out. Otherwise, they all look the same. So this here, if you put it in on the top, all you're seeing is Lloyd's Bank, whereas if you put them in upside down, you get to see the details. Just a little tip. So you know which card you're pulling out each time. Okay, I still haven't started smoking anything. I'm going to go with a D6 because I'm not sure how long the live is going to be, so we shall see, we shall see. Oh, this side of the desk is getting a bit crowded. The wrestler guy Johnny. Funny you should say that. I was thinking about him the other day, but he seems to have disappeared. I don't know where he is. He was what's his name? Is it John Walker? He was his friend. Is that his name? John, the bearded Welshman. What's his name? John, not Walker. I'm using the John Williams. Yeah, I'm using the Calibri V cutter. This is an awesome V cutter. There's a beautiful V cut, and what a lot of people do is do it again. So you do it across, and then you end up. Some people do even a star shape. So there you've got a cross. And then like that. It's pretty, isn't it? I've seen the bearded Welshman, but the other guy who he used to be friends with, the wrestler guy, can't remember his name because he was very memorable. Cheers, only one. This cutter I probably bought from GQ Tobaccos. It's readily available, but they're super sharp. If it wasn't very sharp, you wouldn't be able to do a cut as neatly as that. They're just fantastic. It's a Calibri V cut. They come in all sorts of colors as well. If you like a V cut, I highly recommend it. My personal preference is a straight cut, but I'll see how this goes. I've never done one with as many cuts as this with a V cutter. if it goes well, I might well do it more often. Really got a very good draw. I wish I could show you some of the pipes that I've made, but they've all been sent now. I'm fully up to date with my pipes being sent off. Trying to really trying hard to get them sent out quicker than I used to. So whatever was made last week has been sent out. Sorry, not last week, this past week. So the pipe that I finished actually on Friday morning, that went out as well. Well, you can't smoke anything else. I thought the culture challenge was that you had to smoke that pipe each day, but you can't smoke anything else at all the rest of the day. You just have to keep smoking the same pipe. One blend for a month, two pipes. Okay. So this is a block, a big block, which I set aside about a year or so ago. Originally, it was, you can see there, to do a magnum-sized apple, and it was for a particular person, but I don't think that he's going to be ordering anything anytime soon. He's had some health issues and so on. I might well consult him beforehand, because I did set it aside for him. I'll just make sure that he's okay with that. But I'm kind of thinking of making a special Crown Series pipe with this. Maybe some kind of crown shaped pipe. See where the water spray is. It's a bit dirty there, but it does have some nice grain. It's kind of transitioning from bird's eye to straight over there. So the direction is coming from somewhere around there at a bit of an angle. But it's a little bit more straight on that side. So I'm thinking of doing some kind of crown kind of shape to it. We shall see. Actually, a meerschaum, Patrick, is a clever way to go. Well, it draws very well, this cigar, with this kind of cut, but I have to say it's very much dependent on how the cigar was rolled when it comes to Cuban cigars. So it's hard to say whether the cut is contributing to that at all. You guys would have seen this many times. This is my coffee cup, which I usually take in the car. The problem that I have is that this base is too wide, and I can only fit it in my door as opposed to the normal cup holders in the car. What I saw online was this. And this is a very clever little thing. It came up on my IG feed, but when you try and look at the cost of something on IG, first of all, you don't know who you're buying from, and you just don't know if you're ever going to get the item, and it's usually more expensive. So as I usually do, if I see anything on my IG or Facebook feed, I just go straight to Amazon. At least with Amazon, you know you've got something that you can rely on. Anyway, so this thing, this part sits in, is usually a standard size. It fits into your cup holder. And how do I operate this? I don't know. Alright, so you open it up. So first of all, you've got one cup holder there. And this, I just don't know how you release it, but it releases. I have to look at the instructions. There we go. So basically, you get the size that you want. Let's see if it will fit in it securely enough. And there you have it. Isn't that cool? I thought that was a pretty clever device. It comes with these sponge bits which stick over here so that it really sits tight in your cup holder. I like that. And I bought it for a fraction of the price that it was being sold on IG. And I got it the next day. With IG, you don't know when you're getting it. I generally don't buy anything on IG or Facebook. That's pretty cool, Phil. If you could have something as clever as that it could fit a wider cup, that's good. I mean, that'll go wide enough even to get one of those thermos flasks for food, for keeping food hot, you know. The Crown Series 1 pipe finally sold today. I'm very happy about that. I mean, I'm happy and I'm not happy because it's actually, I was actually quite shocked that it took as long as it did to sell, because I really think that it's a very unique pipe, and I think it's a beautifully carved pipe. Don't know where it is right now. Here it is. So this was the last remaining Crown Series pipe from Series 1, and a huge amount of work went into this. So if you have a look at the bricks, each brick is obviously carved, but each one is also textured. You can see there's a little bit of texturing in each brick, and there's multi-layers of stain on there as well, and a lot of work went into this pipe, and so I'm really happy that it's sold now, and it actually sold for a better price than it would have done last time, so I'm more than happy. Nice one, Phil. It's always good if you can get stuff sorted yourself. That's a lot of satisfaction you get from that, a lot of job satisfaction. The dyes that I use are the regular ones that everybody uses. It's the Phoebing's leather dyes. Well, I have to say, so far so good with this cigar cut. I could have gone one more actually across there, but I think if you go too far you end up unraveling things. Mark's playing silly beggars. Yeah, you can achieve really good contrasty stains with those, and the alcohol obviously helps to, when you burn the alcohol, it helps to burn the grain, the stain into the wood, and that does work. Fruit and Bar. I've watched bits of the coronation. I couldn't watch it today during the day until the end of Sabbath, and I then sat down with my kids and we watched quite a lot of it, and we'll carry on watching it tomorrow. Yeah, that worked out well, that torch photo. There was a lot of stain on that one. Or dye, should I say, according to Phil. Phoebing's leather dye. Let me see what it says on there. Yeah, it does say leather dye. Phoebing's leather dye. British tan. I don't use British tan very much, but it does say dye, so I will stand corrected by Phil, the master. Just look at that burn line. Look at it, it's razor sharp. Nice stacking white ash. Angelus. I guess you could experiment with lots of different things, different products, but in a way, consistency works for me as well. I've been using the same dyes pretty much from the beginning, and I think people are used to seeing the colors that I use. And you're the same, Phil. Most of yours are also very much very similar. Your browns that you use are usually quite consistent, and people get used to seeing that. So this is the Hackett Cobb, which I managed to bust the shank on. which I was trying to convert to 9mm. So I don't know, I'm still deciding what I'm going to do. I'm either going to chop it off and see what I can do with it, put a shank extension on there, but I think the most likely thing that I want to do is to actually just drill it right through, remove the shank, and put my own shank on there. So the way it's done is, from what I can see, is that it's tapered, so that obviously you don't want any glue anywhere near the inside of the bowl. So if it's tapered, the taper itself wedges it in, and you just glue the last bit before it goes in, so that it's just on the inside there. I can't seem to get the cobs, the raw cobs. I've tried. And I must be honest, I originally thought that these were his original hand-cut stems. I don't think they are. I mean, he's shaped it and, you know, tweaked it and all that, but I've got a feeling that these are molded. And so the whole thing didn't really work out for me. I thought it was one of his stems. It feels like one of the Italian sort of pre-molded ones. Yeah, I agree, Phil. I doubt it too, seeing it. I've got a feeling that maybe he used to, possibly. I have had his cobs in the past, right at the beginning when I smoked pipes without filters. I've got a feeling that he maybe used to do hand-cut ones. I'm not sure. Maybe I remember it wrong. But anyway, I do want to try and do something with it. Let's see if I can get the shank out. Now it's working, but I think the battery's gone. You could put a metal band over it, but the idea of this was I don't even have that piece anymore, so I don't know. I can't do that anymore. Nothing wrong with that at all. I have drawers of pre-molded myself. I've got loads of pre-molded stems, loads and loads of them. I've said all the way along, certainly a hand-cut stem makes it a little bit more unique, and obviously it's a bit more premium because the whole pipe is handmade. But for me, the good quality pre-molded stems, in a way, are better because the interior of the drill is absolutely smooth, and of course some pipe makers will smooth out the inside of their stems as well, so that wouldn't really be an issue. And if you're drilling with a sharp drill bit, it's not an issue anyway. But if you ask me, the acrylic ones that you get nowadays, I'm not talking about the old Italian ebonite ones. Those ones, you do have to really know what the inside looks like in order to make the best of them, because they have like a flat section, because these are molded, whereas so the inside is molded too. So there's like a flat section, and then you have the circular drill bit up to a point, and then there's a flat section inside, and you need to file that flat section out in order to not create these little pockets inside the stems. That's with these Italian ones. But the newer, I don't know if I got one here, sitting here. This is a bent one, which I must have started on a pipe. These are excellent. I mean, I've sort of done the V slot anyway. I've amended it and I've changed the shape of the button, but still, the actual drilling of it and everything is just, they're fantastic quality these days. if you get the right ones. I mean, you can buy rubbish ones on eBay. I once fell in there. I did that, and I realized my mistake the minute I touched them. So anything that you're going to buy on from China usually is going to be junk. Elmer's glue. A hand-cut stem, if it's made well, will be very comfortable, yeah. A hand-cut stem not made well won't be very comfortable. But, like I said, even the ones that you buy, the pre-molded ones, this one is a pre-molded stem. I've reshaped it so it's oval. I've done the V-slot on this one too, and I've completely reshaped the button. So as long as you put the work in, you can make the pre-molded ones as good as any hand-cut stem. And they're in fact very, very comfortable. So this is like, it's kind of an oval, almost like a soft panel, the shape of it. So pre-molded stems, I'm a big fan of the good ones, as long as you put your stamp on it, as long as you do your little filings, reshaping of the button, make the button comfortable, then they're fantastic. And in fact, my hand-cut stems, the button on my hand-cut stems, is really born out of what I used to do on the pre-molded stems. So for the first couple of years, 99% of my pipes had pre-molded stems. And now obviously I'm doing the majority of my pipes with hand-cut stems. But when I was doing majority of them with pre-molded stems, I was doing a lot of work on the button. I was filing down the bite zone so that it was thinner, doing the V-slot inside the drill, and then shaping the button. And that kind of taught me how to make the button. And now on my hand-cut stems, that's how I shape the buttons. And they're really comfortable, I think. I've recently slightly changed the last bit, how I drill and then cut that V-slot. It's not so much a V-slot as it's a hybrid between a U-slot and a V-slot at the moment. Well, gurgle is gonna basically, when you smoke a pipe, you create condensation inside the pipe. There's moisture in there. So oftentimes, if you have a pipe which is drilled in such a way where there's not a consistent smooth path for the smoke to go through. So for instance, if I mean, a good example is these over here, but you probably wouldn't get a gurgle down at this end anyway. But essentially, if you have, for instance, if you drill the pipe and where the drill comes into the bowl, let's say it's a little bit higher than the base of the bowl, especially with most drill bits, unless you've got a really flat base on the drill bit. So here's a good example. So this drill bit, it has been turned so the shoulders are rounded, so you get a nice round shape at the base. But you've got quite a sharp point at the top there. So when you drill, imagine you're drilling your pipe like this. So when you drill it, say this is coming through from this end, this is the stem and shank, and you drill it, and it's just a fraction higher than the base of the drill. So there's a little bit of, in the base of the bowl, you've got a little trough. When you smoke your pipe, condensation gathers. It might gather in the shank, it might gather in the bowl, and it will fall back into that little trough at the bottom. And what happens is, when you draw air into the pipe, when you suck on the pipe, air is going past that liquid and agitating it, and it's bubbling a little bit. and that's what's but gurgling. You get that sometimes in the bottom of the pipe. You can get that sometimes in the shank. If when the person drilled it, they didn't drill it very smoothly, or there was a difference in width between one part of the drill bit and another part. So classically, you can have, when you're drilling all the way down here and then you drill from this end to do the little hole over here, sometimes those can be drastically different widths. So you can have a condensation there because the moisture could gather where it thins out. Sometimes you'll have a step. Sometimes you'll have a gap between the mortise and the tenon. So in that gap, moisture could sit there, and you could end up having, you shouldn't because the tenon has gone past it, but there are different places where you could get, actually that gap is where moisture could sit there, and you could get the same thing. There's nothing actually wrong that's happening. All that's happening is that the moisture is sitting there, and when you draw air past it, it's agitating that moisture. And so it's a bit like when you have a straw in a cup and you blow it, you get bubbles. So if you also blow air just above it, it also agitates it. That's a perfect example. I don't know if that came on camera or not, if that was there. I'll do that again without my hand in the way. So if you have a drink in a cup, so that's with it in the water, but if you put the straw above the water and you blow, you're still agitating the water, and that's essentially what's happening. The way to fix the gurgle is first of all to identify where it's happening, and then you can decide how you fix it. If it's at the base of the bowl, so if the drill comes out much higher than the base of the bowl, what you can do is, number one is you can open up the drill at the end of the shank so gets a little bit lower down, or you can fill the base of the pipe with pipe mud, ash and a bit of water, and make a paste out of it, and then pack out the bottom of the bowl so that it raises the level. That could help. I was just looking up Elmer's glue, and it looks like it's available here in the UK, so cool. Yeah, the full bent pipes is because it's really hard to drill a full bent pipe without any issues at all. If you look at most of the high-grade pipe makers in the world, the Tom Eltangs, people on that level, you'll very rarely see them make a full bent pipe, and it's for that reason. It's because you can't drill them correctly, and they won't put out a pipe that's not drilled correctly. You look at the Lars Eversons, the Bo Nords, the Nana Eversons, the Sixten Eversons, most of those pipes will all have a quarter bent, maybe a half bent, but usually around the quarter bent. You don't even see them doing straight pipes that often. It's always that it's that middle kind of area which is fairly safe to drill. and it's roughly, I do roughly the same myself. Most of my pipes will have a little bit of a bend in them. I just think having a little bit of a bend, first of all, makes them a little bit more graceful, and also it's easier to clench. Yeah, Daniel, I mean, that's going to be a difference that you obviously people often see. Is it worthwhile paying more for a better pipe? Well, for a more expensive pipe. Question is it better or not? And that's one example, is that basket pipes, the companies will be prepared to put them out with inferior drills because you're paying tuppence halfpenny for them, in the pipe world. It's when you pay £200-300 for a pipe and that's badly drilled, that's when it irks you, and that's when you really get a little bit frustrated, because a pipe of that price shouldn't be badly drilled. Hmm. Yeah, what Phil is saying is absolutely right, that even a well-drilled full bent pipe, it's going to come in at such a tight angle that you're actually going to end up with a stretched hole at the bottom. The actual hole as it emerges into the bowl could be a centimeter high because it's stretched. Bernard had a very interesting way of overcoming that. Although I'm not sure where he employed the method. Maybe it was in the calabash pipes, I don't know. But those are really sort of kind of carved out, so I don't know. But the way he used to do it is, he would drill the shank almost to the bottom of the pipe, and then he would take a ball, as I understand it. I've never seen it myself, but it's what I've read about him. He would take a ball, put it in. I'm not sure if he would put it in which end, whether it was through the draft or whether it was in the bowl end, but he would use a ball to punch through and give you a circular hole rather than drill all the way through. He was very unique in how he made his pipes. Very unique in a few different kind of ways. I mean, when he joined, for instance, bamboo to a shank, or if he did some kind of shank extension, he would, rather than use, I don't know, stainless steel tubing or something like that, he would buy a screw, just a cheap old screw from the hardware store, so it had a thread on it, so it would grip when it was glued in. But he would then drill the center of the screw precisely so that you could obviously draw through it. But he would use a regular screw in order to hold two parts of a pipe together. Yeah, so you could carve the airway. I just thought it was interesting that he used a little stainless steel ball in order for it to be perfectly round. I thought that was clever. Simple but clever. $1,500 old school guys, hit and miss on a straight pipe. Anybody can be hit and miss, but to sell it for 1,500, that's the trick. Holding up quite well. Still a very nice burn line. I have to say that cut's been quite nice. It's been interesting to use that cut. Wow, look how easily that came off. I think that I'm down to my last one or two D6s. I had a couple of boxes of them, over the past 18 months, let's say, a year to 18 months. They've lasted. But I think I've got maybe one left now. Maybe this is the last one, I'm not sure. you mean on the cobs? That wedge of wood in the cobs you're talking about, Phil? Hey, Steve and Kathy. No, Daniel, it's not worth sending it. It's going to cost you more in shipping to send it, and for me to send it back to you, it's just not worth it. And I don't do repairs really, so honestly, as much as I'd like to help you out, it's not worth it. I thought it was a basket pipe, a design Berlin. That's not going to be a basket pipe. Oh, for me to keep? No, that's all right, thank you. I've got too many pipes. But very generous, Daniel. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's a nice offer. So in terms of this week, I do have my commissions book is actually filling up quite nicely. I've got a good couple of weeks worth of commissions to get through, but I'm still going to carry on with the crown pipes for now. I'm not getting into those commissions yet, although one of the commissions is a crown pipe, so that one will get done. But I'm not sure if I'll get around to actually doing that big one, but I would like to. I've actually spoken to my son who works in the jewelry trade to possibly mount some silver on it and possibly some stones to make it really fancy, like a memorable Crown Series pipe. Well, if it was designed Berlin, it sounds like you did all right with $35. Not too bad. Do you smoke it with the filter in? Because if you don't, you could always try it. And putting a pipe cleaner in, to, whilst you're smoking it, so that it absorbs some of that moisture. The other thing you could do, Daniel, is you can get some Nording stones, which are or filth pads. I don't know if you've come across those, but a filth pad would sort you out. A filth pad is basically a little bit of chalk. It's like a chalk or a meerschaum kind of substance, and it's very, very absorbent. You put that in the bottom of your bowl, and you put the tobacco on top of that. I think that would solve your problem, actually, come to think of it. Nording keystones, yeah. So basically you put those, I'm sure you can get them in Canada or something equivalent, and you put that in the bottom of your pipe. It absorbs the moisture. The filter pads, you can use them again and again. I'm not sure how many times, but you can use them several times. I might even have some in one of these drawers. Hang on. Somebody was talking about a vintage dark twist. I think it was NPod on Instagram. That's a very old dark twist. I bought that a while ago. Well, I can't find them, but so here, this is on the Black Swan website. So these are called Filt pads, which is spelled PHILT, pad chalk, and they're basically little round things like that, and they're sort of shaped, sort of rounded, so you turn them upside down and put them into the bottom of your pipe, and they've got a little sort of groove on the outside so that the moisture can go sort of around them and it get absorbed on them. And they absorb the moisture. I went through a period before I discovered 9mm pipes when I was struggling with tongue bite. I was trying everything that I could to get rid of moisture, and that was one of the options I was given. I went through a period when I was smoking a lot of dark twist, and I just saw NPod recently post some pictures of some really aged dark twist. And I was just looking through the drawers now. This is a sealed pouch. I don't know how old this is, but it's old, that I can tell you. McBaron Dark Twist, manufactured in Denmark by Harold Hallberg, which is the early days of McBaron. Somebody could probably date it from this tax label on there, but I would say it's probably maybe 30-40 years old. It's still sealed, and it doesn't feel like it's like crinkly or anything like that, so it feels like there's still some moisture in there. It's still sealed. Yeah, Daniel, I was going to suggest it to you. I've put it back now. I actually took out a bag of Falcon filters, the little Falcons which you put in the bottom of the Falcon pipe. The only problem with that is that, number one, you can only use it once, and number two, when you start to smoke to the bottom, you're going to start burning the filter, and number three, in the middle of it is a metal. It's metal, right? You don't want to be smoking that. That's the only reason why I decided not to mention it to you. It might be easier for me to say it than for Phil. I'll save Phil's fingers in terms of the figure eight. When you're drilling a pipe, and then you put a torch in there. Problem is that my torch, and maybe I can use my phone. Let me see. That's not such a good example. Let's see if I can find you an example. If I have a straight pipe. Problem is that most of my pipes are bent, and you don't get such a good figure of eight with a bent pipe. Alright, so this is my Jacopo from Rome. So if you have a look, I don't know if you're going to see this. If you can see, it looks like a figure of eight in the base of the bowl. Can you see it? You see that? So that's a figure of eight. And that tells you that you've pretty much hit the right spot when you've drilled it. But it's really on straight pipes more than anything else that you can do that. If you can get a decent figure of eight on a bent pipe, then you've done very well. Hey Nick, how you doing? Hey Uncle Larry. I would say that if what Phil's talking about with polka dot, which means that there's a separation between the two circles. So the figure of eight basically is if it's literally a figure of eight, so the two circles are touching, that's sort of bang on. If there's a slight gap between the two circles, as far as I'm concerned, it's fine too. Where it's not good is if you see two circles opposite each other. If you see a circle on the opposite side of the bowl, then it's much, much too high. So you're just seeing the light going in there and then straight opposite to the other wall of the bowl. But if there's a little bit of a gap, as far as I'm concerned, it's fine too. And if anybody else, a lot of people will be very anal about that and say that it absolutely must be touching. On a straight pipe, I would say yes, but maybe on a bent pipe, I'm okay with it if there's a little gap. I didn't order the Perdomo frescoes, no. I think that I had trouble ordering from them because I'm not sure if they were prepared to send to me in the UK. I can't remember. And I would say this as well. Don't all of you go and do it by all means, have fun. But if you go throughout your collection and you got say 100 pipes and you start checking and seeing if the figure of eight is there and it's not there, you start to get upset with the company that you bought it from. As long as the pipe smoke's okay, don't worry about it. It's just a thing that you could do to see the location of the drill in terms of the bottom of the bowl. But it doesn't mean that if it's not exactly like a figure of eight that you're going to get a bad smoke. So really don't worry about it. I don't know the answer to that, Nick. You're probably better off asking Phil that question. Phil knows more about exotic woods and toxicity than I do. I'm not an expert on wood. I just use briar and that's it. Mortar occasionally, but basically use briar. But Phil, I think, will be able to answer your question in more detail. Phil has a huge amount of knowledge. I've got olive wood, but I haven't made one as yet. I bought a couple of olive wood blocks for use, Daniel, because you were going to order one, but I still have them. I have one which has got nice markings on it. There's an olive wood block, but I've still not made a pipe out of it. Marked it up. Got some really nice markings there, but still haven't made one. What's the date on it? January 22, so I've had it for just over a year. Well, almost a year and a half. Stone fruit woods are safe. That means cherry, I guess. Cherry, mostly used. Birch, olive, mortar. Don't use any wood that is a sensitizer or worse on wood toxicity database. Walnut is a no-no. Oak is a no-no. What about restoring old pipes? Yeah, for sure. Why not? Give them a good clean. Smoke them. get some kosher salt, and a bit of alcohol. There's plenty of videos. I'm not going to go through it now because it's not going to give you a good instruction. Have a look. Just search out salt treatment, pipe salt treatment, and you'll get plenty of videos showing you how to do it. I've probably done a couple myself. I've had this for a good number of years now. Whether I don't know if I'll ever open it because I don't smoke dark twist very often. I've got a jar of dark twist somewhere. I think I've even got a vintage tin of it as well in my cellar. But I just bought this because I was on a dark twist kick, and I wanted to taste some of the older stuff. I did get another pouch of this, slightly newer or slightly older, I can't remember, which I did open and smoke at the time. Everclear you could use. I mean, Everclear's got some flavorings in there. I think it's got some kind of fruity flavoring in it, so it'd be nice. But you could use vodka. You know, if you want to waste some vodka on it, you can use that. But otherwise, just use almost pure alcohol. The thing is, when you use any of the drinks, the strong drinks, they're not as strong as pure alcohol, so they don't draw out as well. I found anyway, in my experience, because I have done it with whether I have done it with vodka myself, and then I've done it with alcohol, and the alcohol does it a lot better. Chris has gone live. Well, let's all just go there. Patrick, thanks. Hey Cole, how you doing? By all means, head on over to Nick, to Chris. I mean, I'm going to wrap things up now anyway. We're in close on an hour and a half, so I'm good. A good PSA from Patrick there. Well, coming towards the end of this one, I'm quite a slow cigar smoker, as you can see, which is why I don't get to do the videos that often, because I take too long over it. But I might pop over onto Chris's for a sec too. Thanks very much. Cheers, Patrick. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Yusuf. Especially Yusuf, great supporter of my channel. Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Gary, Daniel, Nick, McLean, George. Hi, I didn't see you there, George. Sorry I missed you. How are you? Hope you're well. Uncle Larry, Stephen Cathy. Pipes of Old, I missed you too. How are you? Thank you for joining. Mad Piper, how you doing? Jeremy Viz. And everybody else, I wish you all a wonderful week. I will try to do some pipe making live. I haven't done it much in the last few weeks. I did one this week, I think. I'll try to do some more. But for now, I'm going to wish you well. We've got a bank holiday weekend here, and on Monday, you might actually get to see a video of that. On Monday, we've booked to go to Woburn Safari Park. So that'll be fun. Hopefully the kids will have a blast driving through the lions and the monkeys and all that lot. So that's our Monday taken care of. So I'll try to take some clips, as I always do when I go out. So, hey Snoopy, thank you for joining right at the tail end. So I guess I'll do a video hopefully of that. But for now, I'm going to wish you all well. Enjoy the rest of the coronation celebrations, everybody, and I will catch you on the next one.